Welcome back to a victory sweep, bring out the broomsticks episode of Banditland Boulevard. Trevor Howard, Tony LaMonica here, bringing you the recap of the big win. I believe it was from week 19, I think we're in right now. Week
Yep.
19 win against our arch nemesis from the West Coast. The Bandits sweep the Colorado Mammoth, and how sweet does that sound? 13-11 on the road, winning at what was the Pepsi Center. It's now called Ball Arena for the first time
Mhm.
since pre-COVID in 2020 when Josh Byrne buried it in overtime. We take this one 13-11. The Bandits are now 9-7. They're fifth in the all-time playoff standings right now, thanks to a
Mhm.
huge victory by the Vancouver Warriors over the Halifax Thunderbirds. We absolutely need that. Gives us the fifth spot. Tony, if the season ended right now, we'd be playing the Georgia Swarm on the road, a city where the Bandits normally not only just do well, but they dominate down there. But what were your thoughts on the sweeping of the Colorado Mammoth, leaving those Mammoth extinct where they belong?
Well, first and foremost, I'm very happy, of course, especially with getting the W. Secondly, I'm checking my fingernails to see if I've bitten off every single one until they finally broke out to get that win.
Yep.
But other than that, it's nice to clean up every once in a while. So yeah, the definitely the broom came out, and I was a little bit of mammoth dust. Is basically that's all it is behind us now. So kudos to the boys in the orange and black to pick up the victory, especially having some very big difficulties in the past in Colorado to try to win these games. And you know what? They proven once again when it mattered to get hot at the right time. And boy, oh boy, right before playoffs and with 2 games remaining is huge. And if they like you said about if we were to play Georgia right now, if all the playoffs were set up, I feel very confident of how
Me too.
we have become in the last 4 games, and we could definitely take that momentum into a championship rematch again, if God forbid, or even defend our title.
Yeah, I mean, it starts in Colorado. This is
Yes,
where the
it does.
true season. I thought if it was do or die for the Bandits, you gotta win in the House of Horrors, or what used to be the House of Horrors. The Ball Arena used to be. I mean, we said House of Horrors,
Hmm.
haunted house. Like the Bandits would never play their game there. It
Hmm.
was always that there's always that one team in most of the professional sports leagues where it's like, oh, this team plays super well, but they can't ever beat this team when it truly counts.
All right. All right.
I mean, ever since Game 3, the script has been flipped between the Bandits and the Mammoth, and the Bandits have taken 3 out of their last 4 meetings. They've taken 3 in a row. 4 out of the last 5 meetings playing against the Mammoth, including a playoff game in the championship series, 3 playoff games, one where the Bandits lifted up the trophy, another on a home victory in Game 1, and then the home win in January of this year, and then obviously last week's game in Colorado. I think the
Hmm.
script is flipped. The Bandits are no longer the sons of the Colorado Mammoth, and when you got two
No.
games left, you got fan appreciation night this Saturday at 7:30 against the Roughnecks, who are down in the
Yep.
dumps in the standings right now, and Las Vegas, who's I mean, they were the first team eliminated out of playoff contention. Those sometimes the teams that are already out are a team that's trying to fight for a spot's worst nightmare because they got nothing to play for and they got nothing to lose. But I think your momentum when you start to get hot, it
Hmm.
doesn't start with the Philadelphia game. It starts with the Colorado Mammoth game. When you go into a building where you normally don't play well, you put up 13, you do your best to stay out of the penalty box, and you
It
dominate
was
that
tough.
fourth quarter late in the game like you truly did,
Hmm.
and you got the game sealing empty netter when you almost had an opportunity to really put the game out of touch on a penalty shot there late in the game.
Sure.
The Bandits were calm, cool, and collected. They were down a couple times in that game, but they always clawed back. They almost pulled a Mammoth against the Mammoth. They were down, but they were never out, and they came back and won. That's something to for the Bandits to really look on. They're buzzing right now. They were 7-7 after a soul crushing loss to Panther City. They rallied 18 in a Saturday matinee game on the road. They go into
Yep.
Colorado and win. 2 weeks ago, we were on this very show, Tony, talking about the Bandits suck on the road this year. That is their kryptonite. They absolutely stink on the road. They have put up 2 consecutive W's going back home. So on that 3-game road trip, taking 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
No, it's not. 67% of your winnings are right there. But you know what? The confidence boost is coming back to life where it matters most, especially like we were talking about with 2 games left to go. You have obviously your last home game against Calgary, and then you're on the road to Vegas. You don't take any of these teams too lightly because of the fact that, you know what? Look what we did with Vancouver. They were a team under us too. And what did we do? We lost to them. This is something you got to tell yourselves. Every game in a situation like this, especially with the new playoff format, matters most when you get those wins. So going into the following week, it's huge to be on a momentum swing, especially the winning side. That gives you your confidence back. That gives you like, hey, now you guys have to prove to us why you can beat the champions. That's why we are the champions of the National Lacrosse League. We're playing as a unit. We're playing to like, look, the only way you could beat the team is you got to beat the team.
Yep.
So the Bandits are winning at the right spot. And you know what? Kudos to everybody. And here's another topic too, is that secondary has been stepping up right at the right time, especially to take some weight off the shoulders of Dane Smith and Josh Byrne. Look at Chris Cloutier, 2 goals out of him. Look at Kyle Buchanan, an ESPN goal again, and especially helping to get those loose balls when necessary.
And
Chase Fraser
welcome back,
as well.
Justin Robinson.
And Justin Robinson. I didn't think he was coming back this season, but when they activated him, going, he's okay.
Yep.
This is great news for the
Scored
defense to have him
56
back.
seconds into the game. 56
Yes,
seconds
he
in.
did.
Crazy.
Unreal. Secondary is huge right now, especially the right time. This is great that everyone is contributing. It is back to what we were getting, that feeling like, is this our year to win the championship again? Is this our year we're going to do it again? We may go back and defend it. But that feeling is coming alive again. We're getting that belief. And, that's what we need, especially right now before going into our last 2 games.
Yeah. And you mentioned the secondary guys. And I
Oh, my
mentioned the
God.
fact that this whole team has been buzzing.
Yep.
No, is there anyone that's buzzing more than 92? And buzzing at the right time. Back-to-back
Yeah.
games with 5 goals for 92 Dane Smith.
Yep.
I mean, if this is so much better than him finding his groove out, like to start the season and then fizzling out towards the back end. He is getting hot at the right time.
Yes, he
And
is.
the secondary guys were holding the fort down in the beginning of the season to an extent, but they've really skyrocketed and taken off here towards the back end. If you go back and watch that game, that start was, I haven't seen that in a long time. I mean, that looked like the 2022 Bandits jumping right out of the gate. They scored 3 goals in a minute and a
Boom, boom, boom.
half. Boom, 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 taking an early 3-0 lead. And we know it's a game of runs, but that was the best start in a game I have ever seen in the past 2 years as far as regular season goes. I mean,
Sure.
3 goals in a minute and a half. Of course, they came back and they were taking the lead back and forth. It's an old-fashioned Bandit Mammoth shootout showdown. And you knew the Mammoth weren't going to be out of it, but that shows, Tony, whenever we say fast starts, this team has the capability to jump out to fast starts. 3-0 a minute and a half into the game is nothing to scoff at whatsoever.
No, I mean, that's what we expect, what we want to see them out of the gate. The one previous year that they have really gone full pedal to the metal, foot down on the gas pedal, just don't look back, has been their go-to start mode. And you know what? Like you said, 3 straight goals in under a minute. And that's the key things of having the way of the Bandits playing so good as the fast starts. But consistency is also a good thing too, because when we went into the second quarter, it was slop fest from both teams. The poor passing, the shots not clearly being where you want to have it, and it just at the last second, Colorado tied the game up at 5 before half. But
yeah, that second quarter was ugly. Ugly.
That was an ugly display of lacrosse.
On both sides.
No offense,
both sides.
It was terrible.
Oh, it was gross. On both
it was
sides
disgusting.
Both teams. Uncharacteristic passes, bad shots, shooting it into the stands. I mean, with both teams, that was an ugly second quarter.
It wasn't just the team in orange and black. It was definitely Colorado too. They were it was backseeing, watching high school kids pass to each other. It was just that bad. But again, it, I mean, the goaltenders are probably going, huh, thank God we get a break, from all the
Yeah.
shots that we have to take. But
Matt
still,
Vince looked great in the
that's
second
another
quarter.
thing.
I'll say that. Dylan Ward looked good. Matt Vince
Yes,
looked
they
good
both
in
did.
that second quarter. So, yeah.
Unheard of. It's just so sick. And apparently too, I think this is Connor Farrell's first point too, getting the assist on Justin Robinson's
It
goal
was.
after coming back from injury. So kudos to those two guys. Also for the fact that, like we said before, the power play units, 50% for us. For them, it's a little bit more because they had 4 out of 6. But again, taking the necessary penalties when needed to, but also staying um, disciplined enough to not take as many foolish penalties as possible.
Keeping your
But we
cool.
did see a couple. We did see a couple towards the end, and I'm thinking to myself, "Oh God, here we go. This is where we lose the game, and and lose our composure for that because we're allowing them to do whatever they feel like." But no, we've got to play a little bit smarter, and we could not do anything stupid like that, especially towards the end of the game. I'm not sure if I can recap on the fact, but I think it was Weiss possibly who
He
made
did.
that kind
Yep.
of. You did you see that one where he looked
Yep.
like he kicked the guy in the head,
Yeah,
and then the
that
fact
was in
it
the
was
third
like
quarter. That was in the third
it was in
quarter.
the
Yep.
third.
Yep.
But it's those are the kind of things you got to walk away from.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know you want to hit him again, but
Priolo took
walk
a dumb
away.
slash in the fourth quarter too. That's when they went on that 5-on-3 run. But I feel
Oh
like
my
for
God, good
every
penalty killing though.
that was great. But for every one bad mistake the Bandits made, I feel like the Mammoth made three. I mean, towards the
Yeah.
end of the game, they're going to illegally sub someone out there with less than 2 minutes to go, lead to a penalty shot.
Hmm.
And then with virtually no time left, they take a 2-minute spearing penalty. Like
Yeah.
that is stupid. Like we can harp
That's
all the time about the Bandits not taking timely or making bad decisions and going on the 5-on-3. No. When you take
yeah.
a spearing penalty with virtually your season on the line,
That's
which
dumb.
leads directly to an empty net goal from Dane Smith, that is
Yep.
dumb. And
Yep.
I
Sure
feel like
is.
I feel like Dylan Ward should have been called on something. I mean, I feel like Josh Byrne has the right to dive across the crease as long as he doesn't step in it. But you got Dylan Ward putting his knee in the back of his neck. I mean, what are we looking at? And then Warren Jeffrey's going to get up in Josh Byrne's face like he hit the goalie. But you
Yeah.
know what? We hurt him where it hurt him the most. We sent Dylan Ward.
Scoreboard.
I don't know if you saw it on the broadcast on ESPNU, but Dylan
No.
Ward looked like he was almost in tears walking off the field. So
But
karma. We don't feel sorry for them. They put us in that position multiple times.
sure have.
You want to step on our players, kick them in or step over them. I mean, what are
Yep.
we doing? That's unsportsmanlike, stupid. Act like you've been there before. He's allowed to dive across the crease. His nickname is Air Burn. He's been doing that since he was a rookie. And if that offends you, I'm sorry, Dylan Ward, but you're a bum and we own you now. So
Yes, we do.
it's
Yeah, I mean, especially with the fact of how Dylan Ward is now. I think every time he has faced Buffalo, he's for some reason it feels like a curse to him, or he's got to like break the curse somehow. And if it's going against some of our best players like that, that's not the way to go.
well, game
The way to
three
go
was
is you
the dark
outplay them like you
shadow.
have been before, like in 2022 when you
Yep.
guys obviously earned the right to be known as champions of the National Lacrosse League because you've earned it, not because you were scumbags, because you played respectfully and you actually played the game well, and you guys outplayed Buffalo, and that's why you guys were the National Lacrosse League champions
And
of
you showed
2022.
class. You showed
And you showed
class.
class. You did. But after showing that last game, you didn't look like the champions from before. You look like the guys that got, sad when you guys something taken away from you, and then you're like, well, I want it back. Well, it's not gonna happen.
Well, they had a few opportunities there in the fourth quarter. 5-on-3 early, and they didn't
Sure.
even cash in on an opportunity.
No,
It's
not really. Not with that last time. No.
what I've been really, really impressed with over the last few weeks is our penalty kill.
Mm,
Like, I mean, 4 out of 6 for Colorado. They have a dangerous power play despite their
yes, you
record.
do.
But I mean, when you go back, even back to that Saskatchewan game, we killed off a
Mhm.
full 2-minute 5-on-3, and ever since then, we've been pretty lights out in that regard. We've been trying to score shorthanded goals. Obviously, not as much of a success as it was last year. Like our mentality on the shorthanded attack last year was shoot first, and a lot of
Yeah.
those goals would pop in, and that was what was really impressive to me last year. Whenever we would take a penalty, but I'm very proud of, I think it's because we're getting a lot of these defenders back. You got Bomberry back there now, and you got Robinson
Yep.
back there now, and Dylan Robinson is becoming a more physical threat back there now. So it's all the pieces are starting to fall in place. It's about what it's really about is staying healthy, capitalizing on every single mistake that Colorado makes. 3 for 6 on the power play, including an empty net game-sealing goal on the power play. I'll take
Sure.
that. I'll say the Bandits capitalized on every one of their faults and opportunities,
Mhm.
and we deserve to win this game. We earned it.
Yeah, we sure did. And especially with the fact that, we also don't want to forget about Justin Martin also coming back off of injury as well. Having him back, it
It's
looked
about
like it was
time.
going to be possibly an ACL tear, but it actually wasn't. So thankfully for that. And that's huge that we have, like I said, we're still missing like Matt Spanger, we're missing Bryce Sweeting, and those guys that have still technically earned the right to play. But again, it's nice to see that we have the depth to fill in the void and to really step up on the plate. And I'm really proud of these guys that actually went in there, even though they knew everything was against them, and they still came out on top. And that's what you need to do, is you need to go and keep your head up, be confident in yourself, and use each other and be a team. And that's what they did. And that was a big team win out of them, and winning 13-11. And I was thinking to myself, I'm like, you know what? I won't be mad if they don't get the 14-12 score, but it was damn close. And I was
Oh,
going to
that was
myself like,
really
damn.
close. Really, really close.
I'm
And I'm
like, you know
happy,
what?
honestly, that it didn't go to
Victory is a
overtime.
victory. That's it. So thank God they didn't go in
Oh
overtime.
my
I would have
God.
felt it would have swung the other way.
I was happily wrong that in my prediction that it did not go to overtime. But yeah, I like the winning by two though. You at least got that right. I mean, they didn't score
Yes,
14
sir.
goals, but they still won by two. So that's still
That's
good.
right. That's
Um,
okay. Hey,
yeah, I mean, choose a player that you want to look at as player of the game because I'm already starting to eyeball this in here. Ian
sure.
McKay, 10 loose balls. I mean,
Hmm.
before we even get into the player of the game, the
Sure.
Bandits offense has been cooking and it's coming back. Outside of that second quarter, but Colorado had a bad second quarter too. It was a battle of the goaltenders
Pretty
that
much.
quarter. So I really won't harp on them too bad for that second quarter, but
Hmm.
I mean, your offense is clicking. Your secondary guys are back. Josh Byrne and Dane Smith are continuing to tear it up for the Bandits. If you
Yep.
really solidify your goaltending and defense, nobody's stopping this team, regular season or playoffs. I mean, Matt Vince,
Right.
32 saves on 43 shots, nothing too flashy, nothing really to flex about, but
Hmm.
he made the timely saves there in the fourth quarter, and he was a big reason why we stayed into the game when we were down. So he did make some big saves. 32 out of 43. Each of these teams had 43 shots. So I'm
Hmm.
surprised that it was this high scoring with both teams shooting for less than 50 shots. But if you get this defense and this goaltending solidified, which they still have time, they got 2 regular season games left before a playoff spot could be clinched.
Sure.
They're it's full steams ahead for the Bandits here because their offense
Yes, it
is
is.
really really clicking.
Yep. Right moment, right time. And when I said before on the podcast, if Dane Smith scores three or more, you're winning this game.
No,
And according
without
to
a
this,
doubt. Yep.
it's obviously listen. He must be listening because he's telling us like, "Hey, if you want me to score five, I'll score five," and that's what
I'm
he's done the
still
last
here.
two games.
Yep. Yep.
10 goals in 2 games. What more can you ask from number 92? And Josh Byrne doing his thing, still averaging about what 7 points a game or
At
even better,
least. At
at
least.
least. You can't ask for a better thing than that. But also the fact that everybody in the secondary, even though Chris Kluche is considered the first line member, but Nanakoke pitching in, Buchanan pitching in,
Fraser.
Fraser
Yep.
pitching in. Everybody's got that vibe, that rhythm, that wanting to score, wanting to contribute. I love the fact that they have gotten on board. And the fact that how, like you said, evenly shots on net, but the face-offs were in our favor, thanks to Connor.
Yep.
Obviously, our power play, our special teams is doing well and staying, staying disciplined, trying to stay out of the box as much as possible. And that is the kind of attitude you need to go into for these last 2 games, especially when it's time to clinch a playoff spot and to earn your rights to defend the title once again. But here's the thing. You take it one game at a time, as always, no matter who you're playing against. You can't take any team too lightly. Calgary, we'll talk about that during the pregame, but like I said, you can't take them lightly with the losing records that they have. Look what happened before. Panther City was one, Vancouver was another. We cannot afford to lose and have a chance to take possibly third place if all the teams that we need above us to lose out. And guaranteed, we can have a home first round playoff game if we wanted to. It's all up to the boys in orange and black.
Right, and as of right now, before we even get into our players of the game, uh,
Mm-hmm.
let's take a quick look at the standings. We'll
Yes.
update you guys on the standings real quick. First place and solidified a home playoff game is the Toronto Rock, followed by San Diego in second place, Albany in third place, Georgia Swarm in fourth place. All four of those teams have clinched a playoff spot.
Yep.
Number 5, Buffalo Bandits at 9-7, Halifax Thunderbirds in sixth at 9-8, Panther City in seventh at 8-8, New York Riptide in eighth at 8-8, and Calgary they got something to play for too. They're seven
Yes,
and
they
nine,
do.
just on the outside looking in ninth place. Saskatchewan in 10th at 7-9, Vancouver Warriors in 11th at 7-9, Rochester in 12th at 6-9. Colorado hanging on for dear life in 13th at 5-10. Philadelphia Wings at 5-11 in second last, and the Las Vegas Dazzler Dogs. The only team right now that has been officially eliminated from playoff contention is in last place at 4-12. When you look at this, Tony, this is why we keep saying full steam ahead.
Yep.
Because the Bandits, despite the positive record and despite the the fifth place standings in the playoff rankings as of
Sure.
right now, you got to keep your foot on the gas pedal because they flirted with fire a little bit in the regular season. If you
Sure
look at
did.
some of the teams that are behind you right now, you got Halifax, who have the head-to-head over you in the tie-breaking scenario, but they
Yep.
also have a game in hand at 9-8, so that's positive for us. Panther
Yes, it is.
City, who is 8-8, they have the tiebreaker head-to-head on you, and the New York
Mhm.
Riptide, who round out the top 8, have the head-to-head tiebreaker on you. So the three teams that are behind you, granted one of them in Halifax, who's right behind you, has a game in hand, they all have the head-to-head tiebreaker over you. So and then Calgary, who you're playing this week,
Mhm.
they're in ninth. So they have something to play for as well. This is a little bit of a scary situation here, I would think a little bit, but the Bandits right now have shown that they can hang with them. They can hang with these teams. You go into the House of Horrors in Colorado, beat them on their home turf, and you sweep them for the first time since God knows when. I don't even have an official stat on that, but
Right.
this is when pedal has to be on the metal. This is why I love seeing Dane Smith with back-to-back 5 goals. He's getting hot at the right time because you
Sure.
got the 3 teams behind you to round out the top 8. They all have the head-to-head tiebreaker over you because you lost to them in the regular season when you probably should have beat Halifax when you're up 8-2. You probably should
Mhm.
have beat Panther City when you had an 11-9 lead with 3 minutes to go
Yep.
in that game when you lost in overtime. You probably should have beat New York. You probably should have never gone down 10-3 at home against the New
Mhm.
York Riptide, and maybe the roles would be reversed there, but you can't go back in time and fix it now. But
No.
still, at this point in time, at 9-7, the Bandits still control their own destiny, which is fantastic.
Yep.
And B, if they keep winning and maybe they win out, they can still have a home playoff game. So it's not
Right.
things could go really, really, really well for you, or things could go really, really, really poorly for you. The Bandits, the one takeaway I have from looking at the standings, though, and after this Colorado game is, then the best thing is that you still control your own destiny.
That's right. Guys, like you even said, you thought with the 6 teams that we have in hand, say like us, Halifax is underneath. They only have technically one more game left on their schedule.
Yep.
They lose there, they end up going 9-9. Now for the Bandits,
Which is a coin
not
flip if you're going to make the playoffs or not.
exactly. So
Yeah.
basically, with that saying, you could still lose your 2 and still lose your position where you're at.
Yep.
So, like you said, the gas pedal has to stay down, full steam ahead. Don't look back. You just keep moving forward. Basically, that's the mentality they have to go into these last 2 games, which is crucial before going into the playoff round. But again, you have to get there first.
Yep.
That means you have to win another game. One more game might secure a spot, but it all comes down to, do you want to play at home the first round or do you want to take it on the road the first round? Either way, you have to prove it to yourself. Don't worry about the fans. Don't worry about the organization. Prove it to yourselves why you're the defending champions of last year.
Exactly.
And I guarantee you that confidence boost, if you win outright, say you win against Calgary and you beat Vegas, you guys have set the pace to defend it again. And I guarantee you, will you do that? You'll be fine. But if you allow teams to march back in, and keep them into the game, you're going to regret it. You're going to lose out, and you're not going to feel happy of a 9-9 record.
I believe, yes, if the Bandits win their next two games, they absolutely clinch a playoff spot. But if you do the scenarios here, and I don't really have a calculator in front of me or the official stats, New
Mm-hmm.
York has two games left, and Panther City
Yep.
has two games left.
Okay.
Halifax has one. So if
Right.
Halifax loses and Buffalo wins,
Yep.
they might have a playoff spot. I could be completely wrong, but yes, because if Halifax has the tiebreaker over you,
Mm-hmm.
but the Bandits have a better overall record that might put them in a playoff spot, it's all tough. We'll get to that towards the end. We're doing this on the fly, so nobody get offended in the comments. I know there are people on Bandits Mafia that really crunch the numbers and do
Mm-hmm.
that stuff, so I'll leave it up to them.
You want to
But
know what Halifax's last game is?
when
They're playing Mammoth.
Oh, they're playing them. Okay, this is where we need Colorado to pull through.
Exactly.
See, this is where we need our foes to pull through and
Yeah.
keep those guys at bay. But man, if we won that Halifax game, dude, we'd be having a whole different conversation right
Of
now.
course.
Holy smokes. 8-2 lead. I mean, this is man, that's still a sour taste in my mouth in that game. But
Yeah.
yeah, big win, 13-11 over the Mammoth. Let's go over our players of the game.
Let's
You
do
can
that.
you can choose whichever guy you want, but
Mm-hmm.
man,
Go
this
for it. You
is this
first.
is this is tough. It is tough. But I want to go with a guy who is starting to come back on the score sheet more often than not. Kind of an underrated player from this game, but I'll give him the player of the game. It's going to be Chris Cloutier. He's
Okay.
finally back on the score sheet. Uh, he looked fantastic. He jumped right out of the gate, scored the third goal of the game, had 4 assists. I mean, the guy's coming back to full form. So I'll go with the deuce, Chris Cloutier.
Yeah, Chris has definitely got that sidearm shot again. Like he just was picking corners low against Dylan Ward, and finding that spot in the net is very very difficult to find, especially how good Ward's been playing in his career, and again having him secondary scoring wise score that so good. Chris needs to keep on firing the shots. He's had games where he's had multiple goals, like maybe 3 or 4, or even better, just like Dane has. We got to get his confidence back up, and he's got to rely on himself to take the shot when needed. So that's a very good choice that you have with Chris.
Yeah.
For me, I'm going to go with the underrated guy, and I think he's the breakout player of the year in my book, and then it's going to be number 91, Kyle Buchanan. Number 91 has really been scoring goals out of no man's land
No,
and
literally.
ESPN caliber, and the fact that he hustles for loose balls and especially to keep the offense inside the defensive zone. And realistically, without him, you wouldn't be seeing a reshot of a 30-second shot clock again. Or he gets to the point where it's like, damn, he's too quick. I can't get to him. That's the kind of need. That's the kind of player you need, especially on the team, and that's huge to have, especially having Kyle Buchanan on your team. And that would be my player of the game.
That's good. Chris Cloutier, Kyle Buchanan, players of the game. I think the heavyweight player of the game was Paul Dawson. He had a great game defensively, checking players against his old team. He looked fantastic, and the defense in general, given the amount of shots that were on there and the amount of penalties that were taken and the 5-on-3, I thought the defense played spectacular. So
Yes, they did.
that was good. 13-11, Bandits win. Control your own destiny. Tony,
That's it.
it's time for the sponsor.
All right, guys. We would like to thank our sponsor, Mitchell's Tavern, located at 734 Sheridan Drive up in Tonawanda, New York, for the best beef and wick in town. Don't forget, guys, if you are going there for your first time or you're just going there, mention the boys of Banditland Boulevard. Myself, Tony LaMonica, over there, Trevor Hauer. We insist on you guys trying their best foods and amazing service. I guarantee you guys, you will not be disappointed. We would like to thank those who are watching us on YouTube. Like and subscribe to our channel. Please hit that notification bell every time you hear about Buffalo Bandits lacrosse. And for those who are listening in on every known device known to man on Spotify.fm and Anchor, give us that 5-star rating. We would really appreciate it if you guys want to continue to listen about Buffalo Bandits lacrosse.
Huge W. Huge W. We'll send out the preview probably either late tomorrow night or earlier on Friday because the game's at 7 o'clock or 7:30 on Saturday.
7:30.
For
Yep.
if you guys didn't see, maybe you're living under a rock. Saturday night is a full sellout, 19,070 strong in
It's
Buffalo.
gonna get loud.
That is what the Bandits need if they want to control their own destiny. The fans showing up and showing out. 19,070 is nothing to scoff at. Indoor lacrosse, once again, guys, we are in first place in average attendance in the NLL for the umpteenth consecutive season. This team is outstanding. The fan base is great. So Bandits Mafia, you got to pat yourselves on the back. 19,070. If they win this game on Saturday, they're likely to make the playoffs, and it guarantees them at least a winning season at 10-8 if all things go wrong in that last game. So
Right.
big game coming up. We'll have the preview for you.
That's right. We're going to make sure to talk about nothing but Buffalo Bandits lacrosse, and about the team we're going to be playing next is the Calgary Roughnecks, live at the KeyBank Center at 7:30. Don't miss out. If you guys got your tickets, God bless you. If you did, you're going to miss out. But unless you want to watch it on TV, thankfully, we are now with CW23, local channels on Spectrum. But guys, again, if you're not there, you're not excited as much as the people who are there. And believe me when I say this. Also, for those of you who are voting right now for the fan appreciation or the fan of the year, go do so right now on their link. They have it all set up for you. Make sure you get the person's email, their telephone number, and also a photograph to put on there. So to those who ever voted in, good luck to you this year. And we'll see you guys Saturday.
And just saying, if you guys need a photo of any podcast host that might be good for fan of the year, here's our faces right here on YouTube. So
nobody wants to see that. I'll tell you that right now.
You got him over there, and you got me right here. We'll give you a second to take a picture. There's your picture. See? So if you want to vote for us, we'll leave our emails in the description of the YouTube video. How does that sound? We'll do that.
We can do that too. Yes, we can.
Do that, and we love Fan of the Year. Whoever's getting Fan of the Year is going to accept it in front of 19,070 strong, which is going to be sweet. So that'll be cool. You get a Fan of the Year jersey. Am I missing anything else? Maybe a trophy?
You get a trophy too as well. And also, I believe whatever the description says about it, you get you get to hand out the trophies of the year to the players. So it's your show. Whoever wins it, it's your time.
It's your time. We have connections to a former Fan of the Year winner from 2019 that's been on this show a few times. So he's been in that spotlight before. So that'd be pretty cool if one of us got it. I think that'd be pretty sweet. But, you know.
I don't care, but whoever gets it is going to be on this show next. We got to get Jeremy Huck on this show.
Yeah, about to say, we got to get the next Fan of the Year on the show. We're going to reach out. So,
yes, we are.
It's going to be awesome. Bandits are 9-7, looking to go 10-7, then looking to go 11-7, then looking to go back-to-back. So
that's right.
It starts with just one game at a time. Let's keep winning. Let's get that home record to be as best as it can be this year. We got one more of those left. They control their own destiny. This is our time again. We're getting hot at the right moment.
Yes, we are. And guys, what do we always say at the end of the show with our 3 favorite words?
Trevor, hit it. 3 words. Ready?
Yes.
Let's go.
Go.
Bandits. Let's go. This is your time. Sweep.
Defend it at all costs.
And also, sweep dreams, Colorado. Sweep dreams. Nighty night, Colorado. Tusk down.